York County is so much more than just a stop for gas along I-80. 17 County is filled with unique individuals with unique stories, just wanting to be told. Welcome to the 17 County Podcast.
This is 17 County Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Be sure to like, subscribe, and listen on your favorite platform. This helps our podcast grow, and we thank you for your continued support. We would like to thank our York County Development Corporation stakeholder investors, AgriProducts, BGIN USA, Cornerstone Bank, York General, Central Valley Ag, and York State Bank. Without these great stakeholders, we wouldn't be able to focus on the growth and development of York County here at the YCDC. So thank you. And now, let's get to the conversation.
Joining us today is Madonna Mogul, here to give us the inside scoop on what's happening at the York Area Chamber of Commerce. From exciting updates to the latest developments, we'll hear about how they're making an impact in York County and beyond. Let's dive in and see what's new. So thank you for joining me.
Not a problem. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. Well, to get us started, can you give a quick overview of your company, of the Chamber? What do you do? Who do you serve?
So the Chamber, we serve over 340 partners, and they are throughout York County. We do a wide variety of activities, educational opportunities. We also serve as a resource for several of our businesses and organizations throughout York County.
Absolutely. Lots of different things.
Lots of different things.
So what is your specific role?
So I am the executive director, and myself and my team, we work together to put together promotional materials as well as schedule advertising. When you're a small team, everybody does everything.
Yeah.
So a little bit of everything.
Absolutely. So one of the projects that I'm really excited to talk to you about, because we've seen the transformation downtown, is DTR. Mm-hmm. First of all, what is that?
DTR. DTR is definitely an abbreviation for downtown revitalization. It's a mouthful to say revitalization a lot, so DTR just rolls right off the tongue. This is a program through the Nebraska Department of Economic Development, and it is one that needs to be applied for each time. So back in 2015, the then city administrator had talked with us about, I think it would be a good idea to apply for some DTR funds to see if we even qualify for such a project. So we embarked upon that journey in 2015, and we were granted the first round, which really was the study. There was an intensive study done to establish our blighted and substandard downtown area that would make the activities eligible within that parameter. And then once that had been established, then we applied for the funding phase for projects. And when I say we, the city of York is the one that does all of the application. Back in 2015, the administration at the city asked us to partner and walk alongside and help through the boots on the ground process of it, and we happily agreed because this only helps support our businesses, just it looks a little bit different.
Yeah.
And as time has evolved and leadership has made adjustments, they've asked us to continue to walk alongside. So we've been really thrilled to be able to partner with the city in helping them through these projects.
Absolutely.
So when that first project came, that was only a $350,000 that we could award out. And through the different guidelines that we wrote, the maximum grant per property was $50,000. The grant is a 75-25 split, so it will only grant up to 75% of your total project or $50,000, whichever comes first. We had several properties apply. I think that first round we only had 2 that didn't qualify because they were just slightly outside the zone, or they were a residential property. And these funds are not for residential improvements. So the first round, we were able to serve 10 properties and awarded out that whole grant. And the total investment in the downtown area at that time was $451,000.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Then as the time progressed, we gave that money away so quick that we were encouraged by our partners at Southeast Nebraska Development District to apply for the next phase when it became available. So we did.
Yeah.
And that next phase, that opened up to $400,000 that we were able to award out to property owners. And we served another 12 properties.
Wow.
Or 12 projects. There was one property that did a little bit the first phase and a little bit more in the second. The project was quite large.
Okay.
And in order for that to be fiscally responsible for the property owner, they broke it up over two.
Okay.
And they did things that if they didn't get the grant the next time, it wouldn't be bad, but it would help them finish, cross
Sure.
that finish line. So we were thankful to be able to do that. And then the next phase came along. And again, we had a different property that started a project on that phase 2 and finished on phase 3. And we served another 10 different projects.
Wow.
So at this point, that first round, we had a total investment of $451,000. The second round was a $603,000 investment, and then $571,000 investment. Now we're turning the page to where we are now, and yet again, we were encouraged by Southeast Nebraska Development to apply for another funding phase. We put a note out there to properties to submit pre-applications to see if there was true interest and still real projects that remain. And overwhelming, they were there. And
Wow.
so that supported our application to the Department of Economic Development. And we were notified in November that we were granted.
Amazing.
And those projects, we did do a little bit of different though. We did raise our grant amount to up to $100,000 for a few reasons. The cost of construction has just jumped way up since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the smaller projects were done in those earlier phases. And what was left were big things. So the DTR committee proposed changes to the guidelines, and City Council approved those changes. But even with those changes, we have 10 properties
Wow.
that are active in the process right now. We had $400,000 to give away. We received grant applications that exceeded $563,000.
Oh, wow.
So the committee had a lot of work to do to be able to pare those projects back, be able to serve all of them, so it all made an impact. And even the ones that weren't fully funded, they said, you know what, we're still going to do the whole project because it's important. That says a lot about our
That's
business
amazing.
owners.
Yeah.
They are totally invested in our community if they're willing to still move forward even though they weren't granted the full amount.
Absolutely.
So all total, once this funding phase is complete, we will have invested $2.279 million in our downtown, and that is $1.5 million of grant dollars and $750,000 of private investment.
That's phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
And what is even more amazing, from that, we have had 3 properties I can name right off the top of my head that chose to revitalize their properties at a complete owner investment.
Wow.
So it sparked other interest. And they didn't even ask to apply. We had talked to them and said, in the last phase, hey, there's still a little bit of funds left. No, we're good. We've planned on this, and seeing all the great things that the program had done, we just wanted to walk alongside that and make this investment ourselves. So
Wow.
we've had a lot of great impact, and I'm not able to measure what that investment is because that's not privy to me.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Wow. And I mean, you walk around downtown and it's apparent. You can definitely tell.
Very apparent, very apparent. The north side of the square is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
And as is other areas. That one, I think, stands out because almost every building has been done. Mm-hmm. And so that's why that one stands out so much to me. And just the time that some of our property owners, the research, because they wanted to take it back to that vintage time.
Yeah.
It's really amazing the effort that they are putting into the projects.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I think this stretches a little bit more than just the individual business. So what impact do you see these grants having on further than just, once again, the individual business, but the broader downtown ecosystem?
Mm-hmm. I definitely feel that the tide is turning where people feel like it's a lovely place to gather.
Yeah.
We host a lot of events in our downtown area, and people linger and they shop and they gather and they visit. And that is because the outward appearance is making it comfortable, and they know, oh, it's so beautiful outside, let's step in. And it's equally lovely inside these businesses. Mm-hmm. And they are treated beautifully, and they have a very good experience with shopping and with the customer service. I think it just keeps people coming back.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. I can agree with that. Yeah. So let's go back to kind of the nitty-gritty of the grant. Mm-hmm. You said that you guys are boots on the ground. What does that entail?
Sure. So our boots on the ground is my little terminology that I call it. We work with the property owners from day one. They put together the application. We run that through our website. Everything's collected here. We review the application when it first comes in. If there's any questions, I will work with that property owner to make adjustments. Like maybe that's not a qualified activity, before it starts getting too far down the road. Mm-hmm. So I'm that first eye on those applications. Then from there, I send them to our DTR committee, where we review them as a whole. And it's very nice, because sometimes someone will catch something that I miss, which is great, which is the nice thing about working with a group, that everybody sees things just through a little bit different lens. And from there, once we feel pretty confident, then we send it down to Southeast Nebraska Development for an environmental review and a state historical preservation review. Once it comes back from there, then I package it up nicely and get it sent over to City Council for City Council's review and hopeful approval.
Okay.
And then after that process, the property owners have to get their contractors to connect with our representative at Send, so they can get some of their due diligence taken care of. And then we will initiate all of the paperwork, and then once all of that's signed, then they get their notice to proceed, then they can move forward. And then from there, as the project's going on, for the most part, we're pretty hands-off. But as it's coming to the time where the property owners want to be reimbursed, we have to help them to make sure that the contractor has supplied Southeast Nebraska Development with the appropriate paperwork, that we receive the copies of the canceled checks and the invoices that all coincide with one another. And we're happy to help with that. We can collect all of that, or be a collection point and scan it and send it down to Southeast Nebraska. Some people don't have that capability, so we're happy to help with that. And so we do all of that. We help them with their SAMS registration. I'm getting to be quite the pro at SAMS registrations, but this just enables them through the feds, because they're receiving federal funds that are funneled through the state, through the city, to the property owner. The requirement is that they go through this system awards management, just they want to ensure that they're a United States-based business. Sure. and everything like that. So, yeah.
Amazing.
At Cornerstone Bank, we are committed to providing you the best in banking products and service. With 46 locations throughout Nebraska, we are dedicated to serve you. Cornerstone Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Today's podcast is brought to you by York Public Schools and Southeast Community College. Let's get back to the podcast. Would you say that there's one project that sticks out a little bit more than others, or is there one that you're really proud of?
Visually, I would say the project that stands out the most is the Mr. Duke's building, Mr. Duke's Mercantile. The property owner, she took so much time to research her building. She found historical photos. If you look at the awnings, she did her very best to match the style of some of the historical photos that she found. One of my favorite things about her building is if you were to open her front door, it is a new door, but she fashioned the original door handle.
Wow.
She had that fashioned on the door because she felt it was important to just stay as true to the building as she possibly could. So yes, visually that is probably one of the largest impact, and the passion the business owner had.
Yeah.
Very, very obvious. And just some other ones, the excitement of the property owners when they took down the steel facades, the amount of phone calls I received. Check this out. Your face tightening. Oh no. So the pure excitement of what they found. And on a lot of these buildings, that steel facade, whoever installed those did a good job because it protected the buildings, and they did. If there was poor installation, the mortar would have been compromised, and apparently in other communities that was the case.
Oh wow.
But we're finding whoever installed those back in the 60s, 70s, whenever that was, that they did a really fine job, and it did a lot of preservation. So
that's amazing.
It's pretty amazing, and to see the beautiful buildings and the interesting architecture has been exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we move into our fun rapid fire questions, just for a little brain break, do you have anything else that you'd like to add about the DTR projects?
What I would encourage everyone to do, we are partnering with York County Visitors Bureau for a downtown revitalization scavenger hunt. This is going to be happening during Small Business Week and Economic Development Weeks. This is a regular time that YCDC and the Chamber partner in our efforts, and we're bringing alongside our office mate this year as she has secured a new app for York County, and she thought this would be a great way to launch the app. And so we're encouraging guests and residents alike to download the Visitors Bureau app and click on the Downtown Revitalization Tour, where loaded in there are all of the before pictures.
Wow.
And then you'll be directed to the property and upload an after picture.
And I can say that you guys are going to be amazed because it looks very different.
Very different.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to get into our rapid fire, putting you on the spot.
Didn't know about rapid fire. I would have thought this over differently.
Yeah, really intense questions. I don't know. I think I know the answer to most of them, but we'll see if I'm right. Okay. Go-to coffee order.
Blank Folgers.
Yep. Favorite local lunch or meeting spot.
Yeah, country club, or chances are the Tide.
Yeah, fair. If you could sit down with any industry leader, past or present, who would it be?
Don Freeman.
Oh, what a guy.
Yeah. The time I was able to spend with him before his passing was amazing. I would love to have sat more with him.
I have heard nothing but good things. Okay, what's a unique fact about your company that most people don't know?
Oh my goodness.
I know.
That's tricky. What's unique about us that we don't know?
You guys are pretty transparent.
We're very transparent. I can probably connect pretty much anybody to anything if given if given the task. Give me some time to work it through this crazy brain of mine, and I think I can figure out a path to a solution. It's probably
absolutely. Yeah, you are like a walking phone book.
Yeah, I've heard that. The people were like looking for a phone number, and I'll just spout it out as I'm emptying the trash, and people are like, "How do you know that?" Well, back in the day, we had to know phone numbers.
That's what we had to do. Okay, so this one hopefully doesn't put you on the spot too much. Mm-hmm. What is the most underrated service or feature the Chamber provides?
I would say our educational programs. I think we do these in partnership with York County Development because we feel that education is so important to everyone. You should never stop learning. And the fact that Lisa Hurley and I just want to continue to foster that educational base. And we only are charging people the cost of lunch. And sometimes we have a sponsor, but not very often. We feel it's important to, as our organizations, to cover the cost of speakers and the facility. And most everybody eats lunch. Yeah. So, and it's just we keep it simple. We book in the lunch hour, 11:30 to 1:30. Try to be very respectful of everyone's time. And so that is something I know I would like to see an increase in our attendance on our lunch and learns, because your takeaways are just far beyond what you can imagine. Yes, you can use it in your business, but you can also maybe use it on a committee or a board that you serve, or even in some of your personal projects that you have at home. So really taking advantage of the lunch and learn opportunities are probably the biggest thing that I think most people miss out on.
Yeah, and I can second that 100%. Okay, so we're going to move into some more questions, but these are going to be a little bit more chamber focused.
Okay.
So,
perfect. Thank you.
Let's talk chamber. You guys are crazy busy all the time. So let's talk about some upcoming events. What does the next couple months look like for you guys?
Okay. So yes, the next couple months are definitely busy. We, as I touched upon earlier, we're partnering with York County Development Corporation on Small Business and Economic Development Weeks. We are the 5th through the 17th of May. We will be co-hosting a State of York County panel along with our young professionals, which I think is really a good opportunity to get that time with our elected officials and county leaders that we have. From there, we're going to be hosting a partners and investors only event later that particular week. And then the next week, we're having a lunch and learn. One of the topics that we had picked from our topic list, is that what we call it? It's a mindset shift. Our mindset matters. On everything we do. And so we are having a presenter from the university come for that particular lunch and learn. And then we're going to celebrate with Pump and Pantry and with their ribbon cutting. They opened up their new south location. And they took down the old one, they built the other one back behind, and so they reached out to me months ago about scheduling a ribbon cutting, and I really thought this will be a great thing to add to a celebration during economic development and small business weeks, because that is exactly what that is. That is adding to the economic vitality of our Tower Crossings district out there.
Absolutely.
So that's coming up here in May. We typically avoid May as a rule. There's so many family and school things going on that we really want our community to enjoy and support those activities. In June, we will host our chamber golf tournament. This is always a great time. When I talk with middle school students, they always ask me what my favorite event is, and I say the golf tournament. And they said, why? And I said, it's like recess for grown-ups.
Yeah.
So, we work with these partners all year round through projects or sponsorships or activities. And this is just our way of saying, come have fun. And we have a whole day of fun, and there's there's the golf game, of course, but then there's also games at every tee box, and it gives them more chance to engage with other new people. And so it is a fun time. And then, of course, this summer we'll bring Firecracker Frenzy in early July and Balloon Days in the latter part of July, which is a highlight of that is our sidewalk sales. And then York Parks and Rec and the library typically have some great programming. We just put it all together in one nice piece so everyone knows all the fun happenings taking place. And then boom, we're in August.
Crazy. Crazy. Just a couple of things going on.
Just a couple of
Just a few.
Yeah.
So let's say that somebody wants to engage with the chamber to support the mission. How would they do that? How would they best engage with you guys?
So we really encourage people just to utilize our website to reach out, and then we have a contact us. Our phone number's on there as well. Give us a call and let us know what types of things you would like to know about or participate in or support. A lot of what we are doing is we're kind of like the conduit. We make that connection where maybe a new family has come to town and they have a passion for animals and live theater. Okay, great. So here's the contact persons, and they are always looking for volunteers to build sets and to be ushers at programs and to possibly walk dogs and wash kennels.
Yeah.
Great. And then from there, then more conversation usually takes place. I have a lot of people who are new to the community. They reach out. We do utilize our website a lot. The first question people, so what's to rent there?
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
I don't necessarily know availability minute to minute, so we do direct people to our website and to contact the residential rental professionals because they know the availability better than I. But that just helps get that conversation going. I like to say that I have one individual, they moved to town, our York Fest theme was Lego that year, and this guy loves Lego. He came into town, he's like, I'm new to town, this is where I work. I love Lego, so whatever you need, I'm there. So we had a little Lego, he was all over it.
That's awesome.
He judged the Lego competition in all throughout where these kids and adults made creations. And then from there, we started building a relationship. And now this person's on my board, this person runs the young professionals, this person now owns a downtown business. And so not to say that was what made him do all of that, but it was that first step to engagement and feeling like I can make a difference. I can be a part. And so that's pretty exciting to see people just share what they enjoy, and we plug them in where we can.
Absolutely. So let's talk big goals. Do you have any goals for yourself, your team, the chamber as a whole for the next so many years?
Well, last year was an intensive year of strategic planning. It was great. It was wonderful. And from that, we're continuing to build on that and doing a lot of, I guess you could call it the ugly stuff, of cleaning up some good documents that give us some solid base for direction and things like that. One of the goals that I had, back in 2019 that I was early working on, and then it all went to heck with COVID, we're bringing back with our ambassador program, which is a connection program, which I think helps support a lot of the great efforts that YCDC does. Working in concert has been a great thing. And so, working on that I think is going to be a really good, and we're trying to just do it methodically. So we're not going to be perfect, but we want to be able to come out of the gate pretty well. So we've been working on some of the logistics, polishing up what we started in 19. Our ambassador chair is just the right chair to help us do that. And so I'm very excited about that. When I took this position, I've been the director for 10 years. And when I took the position, I had 3 huge goals, and this is my 3rd one.
Wow.
I have completed the first 2.
That's amazing.
It's
absolutely
definitely
amazing.
taken some time, but it's definitely time for me to sit back and reflect and see where I want to go personally. And obviously these goals that I set, they're personal goals for the organization, of course.
Right.
And just see where I'm led.
Man, congratulations. That's amazing.
I'm excited.
So we are going to get to wrapping it up, but before we do you have a piece of advice for our listeners? And this can be somebody who's looking to locate here or lives here but wants to become involved.
I do. I think the best way to really become part of the community is get yourself out there. Take part in anything and everything that you can if it works comfortably in your schedule. I do not encourage people to overextend themselves. You need to keep your mind, body, and soul very safe, but keep yourself engaged. That and find someone. And this is part of the things that we're working on here is how to better connect and walk alongside our new residents in that first 6 months to a year to make sure that they are going to the Playhouse, taking part in Yorkfest activities, going and know where the coffee shop is and things like that. Because when you're new to the community, you don't necessarily know where all the dentist offices are.
Right.
But if you have that connection person, and then just stay connected and just stay involved, and you don't even necessarily have to spend a lot of money. We do at the chamber as well as throughout the community. There are several low dollar activities or $0 activities for families and adults alike. So we really encourage everyone to jump onto the website for ourselves, YCDC, the Visitors Bureau, or the city. We all have the same community calendar on our website, and see what all the great things that are going on throughout York County.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me today. I know I learned a lot. I continue to learn a lot from you all the time, and I'm sure our listeners found a lot of value in it as well. Thank you.
In closing, we would like to again thank our stakeholders, the people who help us drive change. We would like to thank Henderson State Bank, Midwest Bank, Mead Lumber Company Incorporated, Nebraska Public Power District, York News Times, Collins Aerospace, and Perennial Public Power District. And thank you, our listeners, for tuning in. Until next time.